You are likely aware of someone like Steve. It is possible you even see a bit of yourself in him. He earns $90,000 annually. He is currently in his early 30s, holding down a stable career, and each morning he steps out to a $58,000 pickup truck. It features the chrome trim package and leather interior, the sort of vehicle that attracts attention at traffic signals. His colleagues naturally presume he is financially prosperous. His social media feed validates this assumption. There are photos from Tulum, evidence of a snowboarding excursion, and snapshots of an expensive birthday dinner. Yet, his checking account currently holds a balance of $350. He is carrying a balance of $9,200 on a single credit card. He intends to make only the minimum required payment this month. Just last night, he lay awake mentally calculating if the auto insurance draft scheduled for Thursday would clear before his salary is deposited on Friday. Conversely, consider Linda. She resides in the same metropolitan area, is identical in age, and earns the exact same $90,000 salary. She drives a 2020 Honda Civic with 68,000 miles on the odometer. She lives in a standard apartment complex in an average neighborhood, wearing attire you might classify, if pushed, as acceptable. She did not travel to Tulum. She does not recount captivating stories at dinner gatherings. Yet Linda possesses $195,000 sitting quietly in a Vanguard index fund. She has absolutely zero credit card debt. She went to sleep last evening without a single thought regarding finances. Steve appears wealthy, while Linda is actually constructing wealth, and the divide between those two states, between the performance of financial success and the genuine accumulation of it, remains one of the most costly errors an individual can commit. I'm Pam, and I have devoted far too much time analyzing precisely why this divide occurs, and exactly what transpires the instant someone chooses to cease fueling it. If any portion of this resonates with you, please subscribe, because today we are going to delve into the mathematics, the psychology, and a definitive moment when everything begins to transform. Let me be exact regarding the topic we are discussing. This video is not suggesting you must cease purchasing items you genuinely enjoy. The contention here is narrower than that. It concerns a specific classification of expenditure, executed not because an item enhances your existence, but rather because of what it signals about your existence to observers who are statistically paying no attention whatsoever. There exists a $2,500 handbag that transports your belongings with the exact same efficiency as a $50 tote. There is a $58,000 truck that transports you to your workplace just as reliably as a $16,000 sedan. There is the dining establishment selected not because the cuisine is 12 times superior, but because its name implies a certain type of clientele dines there. Economists label this behavior conspicuous consumption, yet you do not require the academic terminology. You have experienced the magnetic pull, the instinct toward the item that communicates a message rather than the item that simply functions. Here is the reality regarding that pull. It is not a deficiency in character. It is a psychological reflex deeply ingrained in human conduct, to the extent that researchers estimate roughly 1 in 10 of your daily thoughts involves comparing yourself against others. When that comparison results in you feeling inferior, the brain's instinct is to spend money to visually close that gap, to signal that you belong within the group. You are operating on social survival software that is 200,000 years old within a modern world that discovered how to monetize it. And the industry that profits from your failure to examine that reflex has invested billions, ensuring you remain unaware. Therefore, let us examine it. The average monthly payment for a new vehicle in America right now is $767. $767. That figure is not for a luxury brand. That is the average payment for a standard automobile purchased by a typical individual. If you are driving a truck or an SUV, you are looking at payments of $900, $1,000, or sometimes $100 monthly for a machine that will retain roughly 40% of its original purchase price in 5 years. A 3-year-old reliable sedan costs between $15,000 and $18,000. Contemporary vehicles routinely last for 200,000 miles, provided you maintain them properly. The reliability difference between brand new and 3 years old is essentially non-existent. If you pay cash or select the shortest possible loan term, Your monthly transportation expense lands somewhere between $0 and $300. The difference between those two scenarios is $500 to $700 per month, every single month for the duration of a 69-month loan agreement. Next, consider dining out, which is America's most underestimated budget drain. The average individual spends $879 per month at restaurants. Per month. That figure exceeds most people's car payments, and for the first time in recorded history, we now spend more than half of our total food budget eating away from home rather than cooking. A portion of that is genuine pleasure. However, a significant chunk is the expense of lunch because a meeting was exhausting, the trendy dinner because an acquaintance was visiting town, the $22 cocktail because the bar featured exposed brick walls and you were already present. That is not enjoyment. That is performance art, and it costs roughly $400 to $500 per month more than is necessary. Add in store-brand groceries versus name-brand products. Consumer Reports blind tests consistently indicate they are identical more than half the time, and you are recovering another $125 per month. Then there's vacation debt. 26% of Americans currently carry debt from a trip they have already completed. The suntan has faded, yet the credit card balance remains. When you total the vehicle premium, the dining excess, the brand markup, the vacation debt, and the neighborhood premium, the conservative annual status tax lands between $10,000 and $15,000. That is the surcharge, the amount exceeding what a functionally equivalent life costs, paid specifically to maintain an image. Allow me to demonstrate precisely what this resembles, because theoretical figures are simple to brush aside, whereas tangible numbers are much more difficult to disregard. Steve earns $90,000 annually. His gross monthly income is $7,500. Following federal taxes, state taxes, and FICA contributions, his take-home pay is roughly $5,500. That is his actual available capital. Now let us observe its evaporation. The truck payment is $910. Insurance on the truck, because new trucks are expensive to insure, is $245. Gasoline, because trucks average about 17 miles per gallon and Steve commutes, is $295. We are currently at $1,450, and Steve has not addressed any other needs. Rent in the neighborhood he enjoys mentioning is $525. Utilities, including electricity, gas, water, internet, and phone, are $335. Groceries and Steve purchases premium items are $440. Dining out, let us be generous and estimate $785. Subscriptions, such as Netflix, Spotify, the fitness center he visits twice monthly, the meal kit service, cloud storage, and the application he forgot to cancel last year, total $195. Student loans are $390. Health insurance premiums not fully covered by his employer are $185. Add it all up, $910 plus $245 plus $295 plus $1,525 plus $335 plus $440 plus $785 plus $195 plus $390 plus $185. That totals $5,300 per month. Steve takes home $5,500. He has $200 remaining, and we have not yet touched clothing, vehicle maintenance, medical co-pays, birthday gifts, late-night Amazon purchases, or the minimum payment on the $9,200 credit card balance, which at 21% interest costs him about $185 per month merely to tread water. Steve is not destitute. He earns $90,000 a year, but he exists one unexpected expense away from a charge he cannot cover. If the HVAC system fails, that is $3,000 he does not possess. If someone rear-ends his vehicle, the deductible goes onto the card. If his dog requires surgery, he is financing veterinary care at 21% interest. This is the texture of being Steve, technically comfortable, yet quietly terrified, performing a confidence he does not genuinely feel. Now, run the numbers for Linda. She has the same $5,500 take-home pay. She drives a used sedan with no monthly payment. Insurance is $115. Gasoline, because a sedan gets over 30 miles per gallon, is $150. Rent in a perfectly acceptable but not social media-worthy neighborhood is $1,150. Utilities are $295. Groceries, buying store brands where it does not matter, are $335. Dining out, for actual enjoyment rather than performance, is $315. Student loans are the same as Steve's at $390. Health insurance is $185. Her total is $2,935 per month. Linda has $2,565 remaining every single month. This amount goes directly into Vanguard and is left untouched. Same salary, same city, yet a $2,565 monthly difference. That is the entire game right there. Here is where the data becomes difficult to confront. $2,565 per month invested at the S&P 500's historical average return of 10% annually. After 10 years, that is $527,000. After 20 years, it is $1,960,000. After 30 years. If you are 30 currently, and Linda is your model, that is $5,800,000, resulting from the difference between the truck and a sedan, between performance dining and genuine dining, between the impressive neighborhood and the adequate one. And here is the aspect that makes this scenario even more lopsided. Linda's annual expenses are $35,220. Under standard financial independence mathematics, you require 25 times your annual expenses to never need to work again. Her target number is $880,500. She crosses that threshold somewhere around year 14. She is 44 years old and finished working, if she chooses to be. Steve's annual expenses are north of $63,600. His target is $1,590,000. And since he is saving almost nothing, since the truck and the lifestyle and the interest are consuming everything, he is not moving toward that number at all. He is treading water while wearing a very expensive timepiece. Thomas Stanley spent decades studying genuine American millionaires' verified seven-figure net worths, not individuals who merely looked the part. The number one car brand among American millionaires is Toyota, followed by Honda, then Ford. The average millionaire drives a vehicle that is approximately 4 years old. Only 5.7% have ever paid $1,000 or more for a suit. The typical millionaire's most recent haircut costs $16, including the tip. Nearly 40% regularly purchase wine that costs around $10 per bottle. I want you to sit with that information. The person most statistically likely to be a millionaire in your own neighborhood is the one you would never suspect at a dinner party. He is wearing a $22 wholesale club polo shirt. He drives a Honda. He ordered the house wine and asked if anyone wished to split the appetizer. He possesses more wealth than everyone else at the table combined, plus probably the 3 tables nearby. The Ramsey Solutions National Study surveyed over 10,000 verified millionaires. 79% received absolutely no inheritance. 1/3 never earned 6 figures in any single year. And here is the statistic that gets me every time. Non-millionaires purchase 86% of all luxury cars sold in America. 86%. The gleaming truck at the red light? The leased German sedan. Overwhelmingly, these are not driven by wealthy people. They are driven by people spending like wealthy people as a strategy to feel like wealthy people, which is a strategy that mathematically prevents them from becoming wealthy people. It is almost elegant in how perfectly self-defeating it is. Warren Buffett, worth north of $150 billion, still lives in the same Omaha house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. His breakfast budget is under $3.17. Usually McDonald's, paid with exact change his wife places in the cup holder every morning. He once drove a car with a license plate that read, Thrifty. Mark Zuckerberg wears the same gray t-shirt every day. Jeff Bezos drove a Honda Accord for years after becoming wealthy. These aren't people who cannot afford better. They stopped performing so long ago they have apparently forgotten it was ever expected of them. Cornell researchers had participants wear an embarrassing t-shirt featuring a large photo of Barry Manilow's face, then sent them into a room full of other people. Afterward, they asked how many people noticed the shirt. Participants guessed around 50%. The actual number was 25%. People overestimate how closely others are watching them by a factor of 2. Psychologists call this the spotlight effect, and it applies to your car, your neighborhood, and everything else you have spent status money on this year. The audience you're performing for is half the size you imagine, and most of those people are performing their own show and not watching yours anyway. A 2010 study in the Journal of Marketing found something revealing. Genuinely wealthy people prefer quieter, more subtle status signals. Brands where only other wealthy people can tell the difference. The loud logo, the oversized truck, the obviously expensive accessory, those are statistically associated with people spending upward, trying to signal entry into a group they have not yet actually joined. It is a game where the finish line keeps moving and the entrance fee is paid monthly. And then there is the part nobody warns you about. You buy the truck. For 3 weeks, perhaps a month, it feels incredible. Every time you get in, there is a little dopamine hit. The smell, the height, the way it looks reflected in a storefront window. It feels like you have arrived. Then, it just becomes the truck. The truck you owe $910 per month on. Dan Ariely's research on price and experience shows this is neurologically predictable. The brain's reward response to a status purchase peaks immediately, then adapts to the new normal within weeks. You upgrade, you adapt. You need to upgrade again to feel the same thing. It is a subscription service for a feeling you never actually own. Here is the part most financial content skips over. Stopping status spending does not feel like a financial decision. It feels like a statement about who you are. When Steve thinks about trading the truck for a sedan, he does not calculate the $760 monthly savings. He thinks, what does this action say about me? He thinks about the coworker in the parking lot, the date who might ask what he drives, the version of himself he has been presenting, and what it means to quietly walk that image back. That feeling is real. Consumer psychologists have documented that we incorporate possessions into our sense of self. The car, the apartment, the brand on the shirt aren't just things you own. They are part of the story you tell about who you are. Letting go of the truck does not feel like downgrading a vehicle. It feels like revising a story, like admitting something. But here's what the research actually shows happens afterward. The discomfort fades. The same hedonic adaptation that makes the truck feel normal after 3 weeks of excitement makes the sedan feel normal after 3 weeks of discomfort. And on the other side of it, nearly everyone who makes the shift reports the same thing, that the chronic background financial stress they had stopped registering was costing more than they realized. And its absence feels better than the truck ever did. As for the social consequences, remember, 25% of people notice the Barry Manilow shirt. The ones who do notice and judge you for driving a used car, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, should not be the advisory board for your financial decisions. They are almost certainly Steve. Real wealth, the kind worth building, is a Tuesday morning. You wake up, make coffee, and sit with the fact that you do not have to be anywhere. It is not a vacation, not a reward. Just Tuesday, and Tuesday is yours. That is what Linda's $2,565 per month is actually buying. Not the items in the account yet, but what is on the way, quietly, arithmetically, compounding while she sleeps. Research on money and happiness has settled on something specific. For most people, money's benefit comes almost entirely from autonomy, the ability to direct your own time, make your own choices, and pursue your own goals without permission. It does not come from the stuff. The stuff adapts. A Harvard Business School study found that wealthy people, compared to the general population, spent dramatically more time on active leisure and significantly less time doing things they felt obligated to do. The lone owl cost the water, enjoying wasn't a car. It was the absence of obligation. You cannot buy that with a status purchase. The status purchases vote against it. Every payment is a vote for staying exactly where you are in the same job on the same treadmill for another month, because you cannot afford to disrupt the income that services the debt that funds the performance. Steve does not just have a truck payment, he has a hostage situation. If you are sitting there right now with the truck payment and the credit card balance and the account that does not grow, I need to say something clearly. You are not bad with money. You are not irresponsible or shallow or failing at adulthood. You are running software that was installed in you by an economy that profits every single month you keep running it. The car dealer, the credit card company, the algorithm that showed you what success is supposed to look like. None of them make money when you say, "Actually, this does not work for me." They all make money while you stay in the loop. Recognizing the loop is the whole thing, not the moment you buy the used sedan or cancel the subscription or move to the cheaper apartment. Those are logistics. The moment is when you look at the truck and realize you do not actually want what the truck physically is. You want what you think the truck will make other people think of you. And since those people are not watching anyway, since half the audience you imagined was never there, you have been paying $910 a month for a show with no viewers. Linda is boring. Linda is invisible. She drives the sedan, orders the house wine, lives in the apartment, and nobody looks up. And Linda, at 44, is going to wake up on a Tuesday morning and not go anywhere. Not because she cannot, but because she does not have to. Because $195,000 became $880,500, which became enough. And she got there in the least dramatic way imaginable, by simply refusing to perform for people who are not watching. That is what $5.8 million looks like before it arrives. Boring. Unremarkable. A 5-year-old Honda sitting in a forgettable parking lot, and completely, absolutely, arithmetically on its way.